Watley, and has the Marquee here. He's sponsoring the thing, and we'd like to say thanks to them for all the effort they've put forth. I think it's very important that we all be involved in our community and our city of Columbia. But we do appreciate the food that he and his staff has provided, and we hope that you'll be comfortable tonight and you just find a seat that you want, where you want to be. And certainly I hope that, I'd love to open the thing in prayer, if you wouldn't mind that. If you would bow with us while we go to the Lord in prayer. Heavenly Father, we approach your throne of mercy again today, and Lord, we thank you for who you are and what you mean to us. We thank you for your love, your mercy that you've shown toward us. Most of all, that you would give Jesus, that he would come and bleed and die for our sin, and that we could be saved and know you as our Father. Even have the privilege to come to you through his name and make our petitions known unto you. We ask, Lord, that you bless every head that's bowed here today. We ask that you bless these two candidates. Lord, you know what they need. I pray that you'll lead them and guide them. We ask, Lord, that you'll give us a good, productive meeting here this afternoon. And I pray, Lord, that we could do all in your will, and that we could be what you'd have us to be. We ask that you forgive us in the ways that we failed you, strengthen us whether we're weak. Again, bless this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'd like to give an opportunity for any other sponsors or organizers or community leaders. I think Bedlam said that we had one alderman in the building. Two. We're going to give you a chance, if you would, to stand and make yourself known. We'll let her have the mic that she can explain that to you.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeanette Nolan, and I serve Marion County as Circuit Clerk, and I help with conducting the municipal elections. So the election is going to be held on April 1st. Absentee voting is going on now, and that is at City Hall. That is not at my office, but at City Hall, where if you need a ballot mailed to you, you can request one by calling City Hall, and they will get that out to you. Or you can vote in person if you have a qualifying reason to vote absentee at City Hall. You have until March 29th at noon. That is the Saturday before the election, and City Hall will be open 8 a.m. till noon, and that will be the deadline for voting absentee in this election. The other thing that I would like you to know is that I went to the mayor and the board of aldermen several months ago and proposed the idea of moving all voting for municipal elections to the Expo Center. And I did that, and they supported that idea, and here's why. One, is very costly to put on an election. Two, municipal voting precincts are different than county voting precincts. So that means for 3 years in a row, citizens are voting at one location for all federal, state, and county elections. However, that 1 year, every 4 years, their municipal election for their specific ward was being held at a different precinct. And of course, what would happen? They'd go to their usual voting location and find out it was closed, and that wasn't where they needed to go vote. So this way, all citizens of Columbia that are registered voters will go to the Expo Center on Industrial Road to vote. And the way that we're going to have that set up is that part of the cost savings is it does not require as many poll managers to run the election. So there's a cost savings, extreme cost savings to the city there. But also that means that those poll managers will be able to be more efficient and effective to serve the voters. We will have 3 lines available to voters. And because this is a Republican-only primary election, there are no Democratic candidates in this primary election that had an opponent, so they automatically go to the general. You will be able to get in any line. It will be an electronic poll book So we will take a blank sheet of paper, it's a blank ballot, if you will, and when they pull your name up, it will assign you the correct ballot style based on your ward, and you are assigned to your new ward since the annexation. You will take that sheet of paper with a barcode on it. It's not tied to your name, it's just simply tied to your ballot style. Insert it into a ballot marking device, and you will touch the candidates' names that you would like to vote on. You will print that. You will confirm that the candidates that you wanted selected printed out on that, and then you will take it to a scanner and scan that in. And then after the polls close, those votes will be tallied. So that's what you can expect. Please do remember that you will need to bring a valid photo ID when you show up at the polls to vote. If you do not have one, you won't be turned away. However, you will vote by paper ballot, a pre-printed paper ballot, if you don't have photo ID, and be given 5 days to come and show the valid photo ID to those clerks at City Hall. Okay, so I just wanted to touch a little bit about that. Also to let you know that April 1st we'll decide the mayoral race, and then on June 3rd will be the general election. There is an election for Ward 4 that is contested in that. And so on June 3rd, you will need to return to the polls and vote in those elections. So, of course, Ward 4 residents will be the only ones that have a race, but we will have ballots available to all wards. So, thank you.
Each candidate, 5 minutes apiece to introduce themselves. They're going to have an open statement and then focus on their background, their vision, and their priorities for the city. We're going to ask Mr. Kamen Watts if he would to come.
How y'all doing? Good. I think y'all could be a little louder, man. How y'all doing? This ain't a funeral. How y'all doing? Good. Well, I'm Kamen Watts. I'm running for mayor of Columbia. Tell you a little bit about myself. I am 19 years old. I am a licensed realtor, also the operator of Watts Stream Investments, which is still messes with real estate transactions as well. I am the son of Anjanette and Cedric Watts. I am a lead musician at their church, the Elevation Church here in town, across from MCS, the old Wolf Lumber Yard. I am running because I believe in Columbia. I believe in you guys who are here today, and I believe in our community and the potential that we possess and the opportunity that we possess. I am running because, as Mayor McKenzie, he's inspired me that I could be up here and I can lead the city. And so I truly believe that as we come together in unity, growth, and opportunity, that we can create a community where everyone can thrive and everyone has opportunity and are not limited to resources, not limited to opportunity, and everyone has a chance to succeed right here in our community. And people want to come back and live here. People want to work here. People want to visit here because they see the great things we're doing in our community. And it's time that we invest back into our community, invest back into our people. And I believe I am the one that can lead that change, not by myself, not alone, but with y'all help and with a great group of people. I believe when you have five great minds in one room, you can get one great idea. And so that's what it's all about, putting us together, bringing us together for unity, growth, and opportunity. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. We'll ask Brother McKenzie to come at this time.
We're going to try good evening again, so let's hear it. Good evening. Good evening. All right, Cayman, we're about to get them woke up. All right, we're having so much fun at this. Miss Jeanette, when is the runoff?
There will not be.
When is the runoff scheduled? It's already pre-scheduled, though.
It is. It's always 3 weeks after Election Day, so it would have been on
All right, well,
22nd.
that'll work. 3 weeks after Election Day, we'll just do it all over again. How about that, Cayman? Just joking and saying that we're having fun. Really, the thing about it is, this is our community we're talking about. This is you all that we are talking about. And it's important when we're doing that to know how special that really is. And that's why I jokingly say we're having fun and we can do it again, because we should be having a good time. We have an opportunity to change and direct the path of our city. Not only now, I'm walking all over the stage and he is trying to follow me with the camera. I'm sorry. I'll do better. But, you know, talking about the future of our town and where we're going, where we are, where we've been, where we're going, the key is where we're going. We've already been there. We've done that. Throughout the last 2 terms as your mayor, I have worked on several different tasks. But as I first ran for mayor, my slogan was building a better Columbia. And one thing that meant was trying to strengthen what we have and build upon what we have. When I took over, the first year, I helped squeegee water out the front door of this building. The second year, I helped squeegee water out the front door of the other side. But as a business owner or structure owner downtown, I know Cedric and them have a building just up the street here. They've experienced the same thing. Every time we had a flash flood, we had a critical flooding issue downtown. One of the biggest issues that we faced was trying to figure out what's causing it and how to rectify it. So we explored our options. We explored the drainage system downtown. We were able to secure some funding to assist in improving it. And we turned around and started just over here next to the courthouse. We tore down the old courthouse cleaners, which was a unsightly building. The Taylors graciously donated the property, and we began to construct a new drain system that comes up to this point in the street just outside the door here. The sewer line and the storm drains have been replaced and they've been upgraded. That's one of just a few projects, but that project itself helped with a critical issue in the elevation of that line. The line, when you get, if you were familiar with courthouse cleaners, there was a Coke machine on the west side of that building facing the courthouse. Just under that building, or just under that Coke machine is where the line was. It was a 48-inch line, and it had a horrible elevation issue where it actually climbed about 2.5 feet before it fell off again. So the water downtown had to build up head pressure before it would ever push out. Who knows when that was installed? Way before I was born, way before Cayman, and probably before most of you all. As we're dealing with a town that's 205 years old, but the downtown infrastructure anywhere from 70 to 105 years old, we're dealing with crucial, crumbling problems. And they're not an overnight fix, they're a long-term fix. You've got to think out, you've got to think through the solutions, you've got to work with the engineers and such to do that. We come up with a 6-phase plan to redo the water and sewer and storm drains downtown. We've been working on that. Since improving the first 2 sections here though, we have not had another building flooded on the front side of Main Street. That's because of those guys, our engineers, and I would like to say I had a small part of that. I've got a great group of aldermen to work with. I do appreciate them being here. Miss Jeanette, we appreciate you taking time to come this evening. I know you don't live in town, but your role as our circuit clerk and as an elected official, I do appreciate you being here. Gwen Hammond is with us, and she's running for alderman in Ward 4. Gwen has served on the board previously, so she understands the audits. She understands the budget. She understands the critical issues that we face each year, and that's with a limited budget. We balanced our budget the last 8 years. The first year that we went into office, we really struggled because I inherited another budget. Not saying anything was wrong other than a tornado that happened in 2014 that put them in a bad situation. But we inherited a not so stable budget. We creeped by with it, and since then, over the years, we've been able to constantly build and build and build and improve our budget. At any given time, there's about $6 to $8 million in the bank. Right now, there's $6.3 million in the bank that belongs to the city of Columbia. We operate on about a $17 million budget each year. That includes the schools portion of your ad valorem tax. If you live in the county and you have city outside taxes, that is the school's tax, not the city's tax. It comes through the city hall and goes straight to the school. When you pay, if you live in town, you'll notice it says county, city, school. That portion goes to the school, but that's about a $17 million budget. We end up with just shy of $8 million out of the deal. We've got to work off of that each year. We've been able to complete all of our audits. And throughout the last 7 years of audits from McDaniel CPA firm, a certified public accounting firm that has certified public accountants who work under the owner as well as him being actively involved, we've had clean audits with no write-ups. Those audits are available for review at City Hall at any given time. If you want to see one, you're welcome to go by there and take a look at it. They inspect everything from our purchases to our inventory, our expenditures, the proper grant management protocols. If we receive so much federal funds, we have to have an independent audit specifically on those funds alone. For those that we have, everything has been clean, clear, and passed, I guess you would say. But the last several years of my time in office, y'all, I have done everything I could to try to move our city in the right direction. I've built a lot of great relationships. We've seen a lot of good things come and go. We have seen a lot of good things come and stay. And with another 4 years, we're going to continue to build on that. We're going to continue to improve. We've got a beautiful baseball, softball complex that draws thousands and thousands of people to our town every year. To be exact, I believe that number was 283,000 this past year, visits to the yards. And that facility has allowed an opportunity for so many children to foster different. My grandma's laughing on the front row and it keeps distracting me because I'm wondering what she's laughing about. Probably because I'm still walking around and he's having to chase me with the camera. We've been able to foster, though, through the yards, different disciplines with children. They've been able to foster friendships and relationships that'll last a lifetime. You know, there's so many things to be said about what can be built on at that facility. But it's not all about baseball and softball. We've got so many different features we want to add to it. We want to continue moving forward. Right now, we've got dirt work taking place on the soccer complex as well as the tennis courts, and we are looking forward to finishing those projects up in the next year and a half. Am I way over my time?
Yeah,
We're standing there for me to pass. It's hard for me to get up here and talk for 5 minutes. You know, that was a real task to begin with.
I agree.
One thing I can assure you, if I'm reelected, I will be available to you. I see a lot of different faces in here. Some of you may like me, may not like me, but there's not one of you that's ever called me that I didn't do something for. And I'll always be available. I'll always answer my phone. If not, I will call you back. And I'll always be willing to hear what you have to say and do whatever I can to help you. And that's the one pledge that I can make you. We're going to continue to try to be good stewards of your tax dollars, and we're going to move Columbia forward together one way or the other. Thank you.
Let answer this question. I'm long-winded too at church, so I'm not. The question is, what is your plan to attract new businesses while supporting existing small businesses in Columbia?
Well, in my vision statement, as I've said at the beginning of this, is unity, growth, and opportunity. Most important thing is that we maintain what we have here already. And that means investing and also supporting our small business owners. They are the backbone of Columbia, and that's what keeps us afloat. And so it's important that we connect with them. As I've been going out throughout the community, many residents, and not residents, business owners, small business owners, say that from a city standpoint, we can do more. We can have more resources available to them. And so that's what I want to do to attract more businesses. First, connect with our businesses that are here. See what they need to grow, see what they need to develop and scale their business. Then we can start to work with them to see how we can attract more businesses, attract more jobs, new industries into our community. But one thing is important that we start to maintain and work with the people we got, strengthen our relationships there. And then we can work on building and work on bringing in more jobs and new industries.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. While supporting existing small businesses in Columbia.
I wanted to give Ben a chance to catch up too. Well, you know, to lay it out, quite frankly, We want to be able to foster those relationships with the businesses that we have. And we try to show in every way that we can the support for them. When purchases are made locally, from the city's angle, we try to spend money locally first. I want to give somebody local the opportunity to receive that benefit. Secondly, when I go out and spend money and when I have an opportunity, I share information about other businesses in town. People ask all the time about different opportunities, different options, different things that may be available. And I always enjoy the opportunity to get to highlight some of the local small businesses that are owned and operated by our local citizens, you all and your friends, your family members. I try my best. You know, Caleb has the coffee shop. So I've met with somebody recently and we went to Caleb's coffee shop. Today we went to a separate coffee shop. The next time we've got a plan to go to a different coffee shop, but that's supporting all of our businesses around town and trying to share that. Sharika has Katie's Cottages, and we've tried in every way to help promote that. And when we have events, if we have anything that brings people to town, or as I hear that somebody is trying to schedule something, we've got some rodeos and stuff that are coming up at the Expo Center. In my efforts, when I'm asked, do you have anywhere around town, anything that you can do? Where can they stay? Where can they eat? What can they go see? You know, sites and things like that. I'm always trying to recommend local, man. I'm sending them to Katie's Cottage as an option. Downtown, Caleb has a bed and breakfast, or not a bed and breakfast, but an Airbnb. We've got Corner Oaks Bed and Breakfast, and then of course our hotels. So always trying to give a shout out to the local businesses. And I do believe that there's an opportunity to support their needs, but it's just really tough to, from a government stance, to support private equity needs. So you have to walk a fine line with that. I can verbally support the businesses, but being able to spend money supporting them is totally different. So that's one big obstacle that we run into. So as long as we continue to work like we have been, we're going to continue to see new announcements. Lori cannot be here today because she is currently working on a proposal for a industry that sent out a request for proposal, and she couldn't be here this evening. Recently, we had the announcement from. Does that mean 3 minutes? Okay. Ben's back there giving me sign language, and I'm like, okay, yeah, peace. As we discuss this, though, the High Energy Sports just announced their expansion here in Columbia. That has been a relationship that we have been fostering since the day ASR decided they were going to close. Mike and Brenna both worked there, and I was invited by Mike to come to the closing day where they handed all the employees their certificates for their years of service and told them thank you. And from that point on, we were fostering a relationship to bring additional resources for them to Columbia so that they could do a startup here instead of California where they've been working all these years. They're from Florida. They're not from here. They didn't know anybody. But Lori and I diligently worked, and so many others, some of the county board of supervisors worked to accompany them and accommodate them at the training school property. And that's the kind of thing that we've got to do. We've got to foster those relationships and help accommodate these businesses and bring them here. And there's nobody that can tell the story of why you want to do business locally better than another business owner.
What I'll do with the next.
How would you encourage tourism and highlight Columbia's unique culture and historical assets?
Well, that's also my vision, that we start to bring attraction to our historic places, where we, especially right here at Bluff Street, that's a beautiful place that we can start bringing attraction out there and start using some of our places to bring new visitors in, and bring people in who want to invest into Columbia. Also, around Columbia, there's many places that we could host events where we can gather people together, and it's important that we start to use some of these sites, because if not, As of now, they're being neglected, they're being dilapidated, and abandoned. And so it's important that we start to focus our attention on where, in areas our attention needs to be. Because if not, 4 to 5 years from now, those places may look like Lumberton. So it's important that we start to make strategic investments and strategic moves into planning what we can do for the future in some of these historic places. And I have some plans now, but I want to continue to work with the residents and business owners in our community so we can work together and envision a brighter future for Columbia together.
All right, Mr. McKinney, highlight Columbia's unique cultural and historical assets.
Well, one of the ways to encourage it is by way of promotion, and we've got a funding source with the 3% tourism tax that we have. It was put in place to develop the parks and recreation and to improve our current parks and, as operation and maintenance funds for the existing ones. So just like the baseball and softball complex that we've built, which has brought our entire community together, you don't have to go play ball at Duckworth Park because you're a black person or because you don't have that much money, or go play out at Dean Griner because that's where the white kids play. I didn't play at either one, so I'm not speaking for myself, but that's what I saw when I became mayor. When I was a police officer, that's what I saw. The black kids played down here, the white kids played up here. We put together a park and developed a program that could bring all kids together. And not only did we do that, we went from $125, $150, whatever they were charging for registration up there, to $60. Last year it was $65. $65 paid for the socks to the hat. There wasn't a dime left. Every kid was costing us $64 and some change to outfit. But we provided from the socks up. That was one of the things that they didn't provide out there. You had to provide your pants and stuff. Down at Duckworth, if they had uniforms, it was because somebody just stepped up to the plate and helped them get uniforms. And he flickered his hand back there and threw me off, guys. I got 30 seconds, I know that part. So I'm gonna spend the last 15 saying that another way, besides the parks and recreation and drawing people to Columbia, we've got a way to promote it now. And I'm just trying to make sure that we've got something good to promote to bring them here. There's no reason in bringing a lot of folks to Columbia for them to be disappointed either. And another thing about it, the Railroad Depot downtown, the only locally owned museum that's owned by the Historical Society, the City of Columbia supported giving them that entire building. We provide them with the entire building now for their museum. So we have supported the expansion of the museum, and we support the use of that as far as preserving our heritage in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Enhance local shopping and dining options.
Well, one thing I want to do is work with our small business owners and also community leaders in our community to enhance, to see what areas do they see improvements need to be, to see what ideas do they have for Columbia and their business. And another thing is to also, when we work with them, that we are working to get solutions, and not that we just talk about the problems, but we bring solutions to the table. And I believe that when we have a time to sit at the table with one another. When we have time to sit at the table with one another and get ideas, and then we can make strategic moves into enhancing our downtown. But first thing we got to do, we got to get along, and we got to be able to disagree, but still know what the vision is ahead of us, and know that in order to create a vibrant downtown, we got to work well together. And as we look downtown now, it's not so vibrant, and so to enhance that, as I spoke with many business owners, we got to strengthen our relationships. We got to see what they need. We got to see what we, instead of just wanting their money, we got to want their ideas. We got to want their thoughts, and want them to truly be involved 100%. And then we can start making steps to progressively enhance downtown, enhance Columbia.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Mr. McKenzie, what steps would you take to revitalize downtown Columbia and enhance local shopping and dining options?
Well, I think came in pretty well hit on a few of those, and one of those is when you have it, you've got to support it. And I'll tell you, all too often, and I might step on my own toes or anybody's in here, we don't support our own local businesses as it is. I've got a business on 2nd Street downtown. I know the faces that I see in it pretty regular, and I know the faces I never see. You know, and that a lot of those folks who complain about the empty buildings downtown never darken my door. Through conversations with other business owners downtown, they don't darken theirs either, but they complain about the vacant buildings. And I'm not talking about the ones that are under construction. I'm talking about the empty buildings that are closed up. I do agree that we have to get along. And that's a two-way street for everybody involved. Another thing that I'm going to say was I led the charge on bringing this to our table, but the Board of Aldermen supported it. And that was offering an incentive, a tax abatement is what it was. But it is a tax abatement for city taxes on a new construction or the redevelopment of a building. I can't abate the school tax, and I can't abate the county tax. I really wish that the county would follow suit, and I think with one or two good examples, we're going to see that the county is going to understand what we're trying to do as well, and they're going to want to do the same, because I know the vision of many of the board members for the Board of Supervisors, and they want to see growth as well. But, you know, I think they're just skeptical of what the tax abatement might look like, and they're skeptical of getting fussed at. We received no taxes from that strip mall that Greg Prine just built out on Highway 98. There was nothing there. Columbia Welding had been torn down. It was a vacant lot. And through discussion and proper planning with Greg Prine, we used this tax abatement. For the next 7 years, he's got a staggered plan that he will save money from the city's taxes to invest there. His building's going to create jobs, bring other businesses to Columbia, and in turn, we will win, even if it's not directly off of his taxes the first few years. So that's a plan and strategy for bringing new business and supporting our local businesses now.
All right, we fixed to leave this segment. Benjamin also told me that both these men have said that we do need to support our local businesses. My wife and I, a lot of times we don't ride together during the week, but we do on Sundays. But she was riding with me the other day and told me, she said, turn here. And I said, we got to go this way to the house. Well, turn here. She goes and...
Started, you're ready for me. Next area. We are looking at buying a certain number of accounts from Cedar Grove, Bunker Hill Water Association. This has been something that's been in discussion for some time, and we wanted to make sure we could secure the funding to help move forward. We're going to use $3.6 million of ARPA funds, $500,000 of which belong to the county, and the other, to say that, then that $500 was matched by another $500 from the state, so it gives us $3.6 million to spend on water improvements on the north side of town. We're going to run a water line out to the Airplex on Airport Road. We're going to do an in-ground storage tank, a pressure station, and eventually come back with a water tower out there. That water tower will then gravity feed the north side of town if we choose to buy any more of the Bunker Hill Water Association, and they choose to sell. It's not something we can force them to do. It's like out east, we cannot take over the 98 East water supply. That is their certificated area. Very similar to what Pearl River Valley and Mississippi Power have. But saying that, today I passed on my way. I was actually really frustrated because the guy was driving so slow trying to be careful and not run into anybody's mailbox on Church Street while they're doing the C-Spire fiber boring. But that's an improvement to our infrastructure. Each year we've got use tax from our internet sales that we're also applying to road surface improvements, along with community development block grants and other resources. So we are trying to use every avenue possible to make improvements.
Thank you. Improvements do you propose for Columbia's roads, sidewalks, and public spaces?
Well, it's important that we maintain that part of our infrastructure, and our roads, they're terrible. As I've spoken with many of our residents in our community, they're tired of their cars getting beat up. by our roads. And it's important as we talk to our youth and speak and invest in our youth that we're making sure that their eye gates are protected, not only protected, but they're seeing things that will inspire them and encourage them to become leaders and invest back into our community. And so when they grow up in our community and they don't see many roads getting fixed, when they grow up in our community, you don't see many sidewalks getting fixed. But we just got a $1.5 million grant for sidewalks by Raines and by the yards. Well, we need to maintain the ones we got now. The ones we got now are terrible. Many people are trying to walk, ride bikes, walk their dogs, or work out, and they have to run into the road off the sidewalk to walk and enjoy the sidewalk, a good experience. So first we need to do is maintain what we got and invest in what we have before we try to and bring more in. And also, how do we get money to do that? Well, we got to advocate on a state and federal level for those funds. And also, as I spoke with my representatives already, it's important that we strengthen our relationship with them too as well, so they can really fight for us on the state level like they should be doing. And so I think it's 30 seconds. I think it's important that we advocate for funds, and it's important that we also get public and private partnerships. So people who want to invest in our community, well, let's allow them to do that. Let's remove the red tape and let's open up our community.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Issues. Did I just read that question?
No, that's a new one.
Okay, how do you plan to address drainage issues and improve stormwater management?
Throughout our entire town?
Well, I don't know now.
All right, well, that's a good question. I think I was headed down that road earlier when Ben was telling me you're already surpassed your time, so I'm wasting time now, using that time earlier. It's distracting when he does that. So, one thing I want to elaborate on the last thing was the sidewalks and stuff weren't in the greatest shape when I became mayor, and we've worked on them diligently. And I have personally spent days upon days pouring sidewalks. If you think about the one on Oak Avenue, it is probably the highest traveled sidewalk in town, and that's because of the primary students that go to the Presbyterian Church every day after school. I've got a request to work on Dale Street for First Baptist Church, and I will be doing that. But the Transportation Alternative Grant that was obtained through MDOT was only allowable for new construction of transportation alternatives. Therefore, we had to meet with their engineers and several constituents before the project was even considered or approved for the $1.5 million. After 2 meetings that spent hours walking R.E. Johnson and Eagle Day Avenue, because 2 of the largest grocery outlets in Columbia are down that way, we decided that was the best place to make those improvements. This past term, we done a huge clean out of the stormwater retention pond behind Walmart. That was a state-funded project. We put up a couple $1,000s. They put up the remaining amount. It was nearly a $300,000 project to clean out the retention pond. And my thought on that, and what I explained to the board members before we ever started, was it's got to exist. It just as well to look good. So we have made improvements so that it would look better and be more attractive. And not only that, people are now using it for fishing and everything else. I think I covered all the storm issues downtown, but we do have a 6-phase project to continue on this area, and we've got $500,000 already secured and in the bank at City Hall, or at Citizens Bank, for the stormwater issues on Church Street, Wilkes, Rogers, and Park Avenue intersection.
So did y'all stock the pond? Did y'all stock it?
I don't know where the fish came from, but they're there. It's not yet.
All right, I got a question right there. On a deal like that where money's been allocated, if you don't use it on new construction, you just lose it, right?
If you don't use it, they will not give it. It's a reimbursement grant, this $1.5 million, so we're going to have to spend it and then turn around and they will pay us back for it. That's the largest one that our engineering firm doubted that we would ever get $1.5 million. So it took a lot of lobbying and when I say lobbying, a lot of rubbing elbows to get that money.
I just want to make it clear, a lot of like waste management and utilities are efficient and affordable.
Well, one thing I want to do, if elected, is come in working with those guys in public works to ensure they have what they need, so they are able and capable of doing their job properly. As I rode around Columbia and also continue speaking with residents, we can make some improvements in those areas. Because when we talk about investing into the future of Columbia, it's important that we assure that those things are prepared for that growth. And from our roads to our sewage to our plumbing. And another thing to go back to the roads, that we have to find the key issues with our water mains, because we can't continue to patch roads and there's an underlying issue. Then we have to figure out what that issue is and what's causing that issue, and then we can start to fix it. At the same time, fixing our sewage and our plumbing, we're also fixing our roads for long-term prosperity. And so that's what I envision for that.
All right. What steps will you take to ensure city services like waste management and utilities are efficient and affordable?
One of the things that we have to do each year is we have to approve a waste management agreement at the transfer station in Foxworth. If many of y'all know, that's the old dump site just west of Foxworth on Highway 586. There's a station there where we are 1/3 owners of that property. And I say that property being the structures. The school district owns the property, we lease the property, have a long-term lease on it, the city does, and in turn is partners with the county. They pay 2/3 because they have more residents using the sanitation services than the city. The city pays 1/3 of the maintenance and operations of that facility. Then they put out for contract the hauler to dispose of that waste. And we can't do it without them, and they can't hardly do it without us, because there's just not enough waste if we don't partner on that. So working together each year, they put that out for bid, and at the end of each contract, they put it out for bid. We just re-upped that bid, or re-upped that contract with Williamson and Sons, who has a service for disposing of that. And then our Public Works Director, Brandon Turnage, is actually here today, and I'm pleased to work alongside Brandon. One of the things that I looked at when we first came into office was the amount of money that we were spending on a waste service that we had no control over and no say. So oftentimes we ended up, thank you, Ben, we ended up with complaints, and we really couldn't address them because they weren't our employees. So we looked at bringing that service back in-house, not only bringing it back in-house, but an opportunity to bring it in-house and put local Columbia citizens to work. So now I have 3 citizens of Columbia who all 3 work on the sanitation truck, and we have 2 sanitation trucks available. We bought the first one, we waited a little over 3 years and bought the second one so we could start putting them on a rotation so that we don't keep them till they're worn out. We bought a really nice truck with it's a Western Star cab and chassis, so that it'll bring back higher retail value. So we're just looking for every opportunity to save us money while providing a service that is of good quality to our community.
Okay, that first question. Mr. Watts, you got the mic. The first question, what strategies do you propose to improve community policing and reduce crime in Columbia?
Well, police and CPD, well, issues from there. We've dealt with issues from with the police, community policing for quite some time now. Way before, I'm sure, Mayor McKenzie tenure, and way before my time for sure. But however, speaking towards the future, it's important that we, my vision, I have plans for, if elected, coming into the office with our police department, to work with them and to see what exactly they need to better service our community. Because policing is not all about patrolling, but it's about being a service. And how can we ensure that they are being public servants to our community? And one of the things I want to implement into our community is a police oversight board, where the residents have a direct role and a place in our community and in our city hall, where they can evaluate certain situations that takes place, misconduct, and give their thoughts, opinions, and for as the direction we should go in. Another thing is community policing programs, to where our police are just not patrolling, but they're engaging with our residents, building relationships. It's important that our police officers are getting out their cars and building relationships with our residents. No one wants to live in a town they don't feel safe. No one wants to live in a town they're being harassed. No one wants to invest in a community that has police problems. I don't know, but this recent event that took place in our community with a police officer, it has reached 389 views on YouTube. A few years ago, we had 389,000 people down here at one time. And so it's important that we not go that direction and bringing that bad light into our community. We want the light on our community to be a bright star, and to where when people come in here to work, when people come here to invest, they trust our police department, they trust our local government, and that we're a community that work well together. And police and our police are accountable, trustworthy, and responsible. Thank God we got Chief Fortenberry in here today, who's doing an amazing job with CPD. Let's give him a hand.
I got you. So I spent 17 years in law enforcement before becoming mayor. I worked my way up from a reserve deputy. While working at Walker Hill Environmental, I was a reserve deputy with Sheriff Rip Stringer. I became a dispatcher for both the Sheriff's Office, Police Department. I worked in the fire service. I worked in the police service. I worked in the Sheriff Department. I went and worked in another town for a short time just to get experience elsewhere. I brought that back and I applied it. I worked my way up the ranks to captain over patrol. There was nobody else. There was a chief and then the captain and a captain in investigations. I never worked in investigations itself as an investigator because it just was never my cup of tea. I did work with the Office of Highway Safety and the Mississippi Governor's Office of Highway Safety as a liaison. I was one of 9 across the state, and I've done that for about 5 years, working hand in hand with them. We come up with different methods and ways to drive down the number of fatalities on the street, and some of that was through aggressive DUI enforcement and seatbelt enforcement. That's a tool that is pushed by NHTSA. And we took the best practices that we could find across the country and we applied them right here in the state of Mississippi. When I ran for mayor, there were some people who I dealt with that told me point blank they weren't going to support me. They told an uncle of mine who was out politicking for me that they wouldn't support me because, I'd arrested them or something of that nature. But I also had a lot of them come back to me and say, there was one thing about it, you were firm, but you were fair. You were always fair. And I believe that the police have to be firm to a certain extent. I do not condone the recent stuff that happened and that we see online. You don't see the entire video online. You see a portion of the video. I don't condone it, period. That being said, what I'm going to do for ensuring the best public safety in our community is support the man that we have in charge of the police department, because I cannot legally interfere with what is going on in the day-to-day operations of the police department. But I think we've got the right man in charge, and that's Chief Adrian Fortenberry, who I was proud to swear in. I've worked with Adrian for a very long time and am honored to know him and honored to serve with him. And I'm going to support him and make sure that he has the tools to work with each and every day. And we're going to make it right. Our community is going forward.
All right, candidates, I think both of y'all addressed this a little bit. If you want to add something to this second question, feel free. How would you strengthen partnerships between law enforcement and community organizations?
Well, as I said, I envision a police oversight board to where those police officers see those people on the board, they engage with them also. Not only is for certain situations, but that is another way of police officers building relationships with our residents. Also to where our police officers engage not only our city police, but also that we continue to strengthen that relationship with our county officers, with our sheriff's department, to where we are able to come together in one place, the county and the city officers, and you see them united, and they be able to maybe do a prayer day where the community come out, engage with them, and they whatever the beliefs are, your beliefs are, but you're able to come all in one setting and be together, united with the officers and the sheriff's deputies. And that's where unity takes place. When everybody's able to be in one place, they don't feel scared. They don't feel as though once they leave there, they go get pulled over. But no, they there and they are actually engaging with the police officers. And another way is that as a few years ago, I think Mayor McKenzie was the mayor as well, but in this time. But I seen a police officer quite often used to get out and engage with the youth. That's important, that our youth are not afraid to be in the presence of police officers because they have a badge, but they're wanting to be a police officer. It's important that we start to make those investments in our communities because we need police officers from here. It's hard getting police officers for sure, but we need to make sure that we are hiring the best people that will be accountable, transparent, and have integrity and character when they're protecting our community.
All right, thank you, Mr. Weiss. Mr. McCad on strengthening partnerships between law enforcement and community organizations.
Yes, I'd love to just, you know me, I can talk, so that's not anything. Yes, of course you do. Jason's over there saying, good God, he's going to talk again. Here's the facts. You know, it's one of those things that we as a community have to do. Holly worked as a receptionist not long ago at the police department. And she was there the days that they put together basketball goals that they bought out of their pocket. The basketball goals that they went to Walmart and purchased out of their pockets and went and put up in several different places in the neighborhood. On their days off. Jeff Stamps, there was several of them, Michael Turner, there was a bunch of people involved in that. Holly and others, you know. Chief Kelly, the one time something happened, everybody immediately jumped on him, you know, and it was dogging the police again. One thing you've got to remember about those police officers, and you've got to remember about every elected official, is just like every preacher, every deacon, every manager. They're all human. We are human. People are going to make mistakes. People are going to lose their cool. People are going to do wrong. That wrong has to be addressed when it's done. Don't get me wrong about that. You have consequences for your actions. That being said, we've got a board that is going to look into any matters, and they are going to review that because they are the Board of Aldermen. And that's once it comes through the chief. If the chief needs them to review it, you've elected them to be those stewards and review that and do what's right. And that's what's important about that. As an issue that we can't really address with like a public committee, and I know Cayman has discussed this, wanting to bring in a interview board. When it gets into personnel issues, the general public can't know everything about your personnel problems. And it doesn't matter if that's government or any private sector. That stuff has to be dealt with professionally, and it has to be kept in-house. So we're going to continue to serve, and we're going to make it better with the support of this man right behind you.
All right, I'd like to echo down in Columbia.
Well, we first, again, working with Chief Fortenberry and every emergency department, ensuring that if they don't have what they need to make it out to those emergencies, on time, that we start to get that to them, bring the resources to them, advocate for what they need. Maybe it's through grants to fund that, or through public partnerships, or hosting events and programs for them so they can constantly have funds, so they can ensure they have what they need for public safety. And another thing, just if just working with the public and also with our police officers to ask and to see whatever they need, we should bring it to them. But that's it. I think they.
Wait. Wait, you're going over. That's what he's doing whenever I go over. So, all right, Ben, I got that. We'll kind of carry on through it. Similar to what Kamen said, you've got to discuss it with your department heads on how to be the best and be able to efficiently and effectively respond to these calls for service. It doesn't matter if it's an emergency, urgent, life or death situation, or if it's a nonchalant call for service. We're there to serve, and they need to respond in a timely manner. The one thing I don't want to do is encourage, because of saying we want them to get there faster or respond faster. We don't want them to drive any faster. We already get enough complaints on that. So that being said, and that's all emergency responders. We've got some great emergency responders in Columbia and Marion County. AAA ambulance service is phenomenal. Here lately, we've seen some delays in their response, but it's because they're spread so thin. And if you were to call them right now and talk to one of their, I'm going to throw out a name. If you called Todd Pounds right now, who is a citizen of Marion County and one of their higher up managers, Todd would say, "Are you interested in going to work? Because I got an ambulance that needs a EMT or a paramedic." And like every other field, they're struggling to find employees. Therefore, they are stretched thin. Our fire service has continued to improve its fire rating since I've been in office. We went from a class 6 to a class 4. I never understood how valuable a 1/10 of a point is. But it is hard to get a 1/10 of a point when you're trying to come up with a 10-point scale to move you down the fire rating. Our goals and sights are set on our class 3. Chief Lyle Berard is doing a phenomenal job as a fire chief. Our men and women who are serving at our fire department, we've like one female, and she starts the academy very soon. And when she starts the academy and completes it, we will have a fully staffed and fully certified department at our fire department. So one of the things we're seeing by retaining people is, instead of starting all over with the basics, we're able to send them to advanced training and give them an opportunity to further their education so that they can better serve you. And how ironic that the ambulance is coming by at the end of my time.
Slow down. You're going a little bit too fast, huh?
Yeah, they were all right.
All right, questions. We're going to take a 3-minute break. Okay, so the first question, Mr. Watts, is...
We don't need no break.
Well, we're going to get Brother McKenzie some water. Mr. McKenzie. All right, where do you see Columbia, Mr. Watts, in 5 years, and what steps will you take to make that vision a reality?
Hey, since this is the final of the moderated questions, I'm going to expand to 3 minutes. It's kind of like a closing statement.
Okay.
After that short break, we're going to open it up for questions.
We're going from 30 seconds to 3 minutes. This is going to be like a...
I'm going to give y'all an extra 60 seconds because these are really broad questions.
Okay.
Can you ask it again, Ben? I don't know if I came in, but I don't.
One more time.
I can. Mr. Watts, where do you see Columbia in 5 years, and what steps will you take to make that vision a reality?
Well, I see Columbia, it's first starting at downtown. I see downtown being a vibrant, inclusive place with a great atmosphere, with a lot of attraction. I see our community being on the regional destination of ecotourism, where we have places where you can come tour, and it's like nothing you've never seen before in Columbia, where we completely change and start to move in a brighter future for Columbia, and brighten up our downtown, brighten up our residential neighborhoods. I envision neighborhoods to be clean, where we are enforcing codes, and we're mandating that our business owners and our residents keep their properties clean, so we can raise our property values, and also bring up the value in our community. Also, I envision where we take the burdens off our taxpayers, but we start to actually go out and advocate for more funds and do more things in our community, so we can take those burdens off our taxpayers for taxes. And I truly believe, and at the end of all this, we will be in a community where unity, growth, and opportunities taking place, where there's endless of opportunities, endless of resources, and where everybody can connect and want to move into Columbia, where there's a complete turnaround in our population, where it's no more declining, but it is increasing. Also, where we're able to have a new budget. And so, and the excuse will no longer be we don't have the funds, but we're in good standing, and as we already are. But however, that we're continuing to grow as life grows, and that we're not still as that we're moving along in a new direction with a new vision.
Been 5 years, and what steps will you take to make that vision a reality?
All right, so, I see us moving forward. I see Columbia continuing to grow. We see the cities around us growing, and they're growing for various reasons. Summerall, Mississippi is constantly growing, and we know that there's not a Walmart there. We know there's not a large industry there. They're going there for the school districts. Well, what we are seeing here in Columbia and Marion County is constant improvement in our school districts. The other day I went and celebrated with East Marion Elementary, their first ever B rating. Dr. Angela Johnson and her staff are doing phenomenal things down there. They came from a D to a B. They're 20 points from an A at East Marion Elementary. Wow. She was told it just basically couldn't be done, and she's proven them wrong. She has proven them wrong. They are hustling. They're using a can-do positive attitude, and that attitude is carrying them forward. Columbia School District has been preparing for the upcoming testing. The state testing takes place, I think, in 2 weeks. And they've been preparing, and a conversation with Dr. Harris yesterday morning, he felt like they were very prepared for it, that they were going to do well in it. And he went on to say he felt like they were going to do exceptionally well. They've done a lot of mock testing and preparation leading up to this. And that doesn't start with you can say it's the teachers, you can say it's the superintendent. It starts at the top as a country, and it trickles down. What you're feeding into the states, what the states are feeding into the local school districts, what the local school district administrators are feeding in is what's going to be passed down to the students. So the crowd I saw at East Marion the other day, and the crowd I saw at Columbia Primary School Mardi Gras parade that was a part of their celebration for their recent accomplishments and improvements. That's folks with a can-do attitude. The teachers, the kids, the administrators, they all have it. And they've just got that thing about them right now. And as they continue to improve our school districts and our academic scoring, we're going to see people want to be here because of that. As we continue to grow with new and modern homes, I mean, one of the things you see around Columbia is a lot of old homes. When you go out to buy what you would consider a nice median household income home, you're going to buy a 1970s ranch style home. And we've got to see new development. I have had a couple meetings with a couple of developers, and these are people who are investing in the Hattiesburg market, the Forest, Lamar County market, people who are investing in the coast, and we have some in this room tonight who are investing that moved to Columbia because they found a diamond in the rough. And I'm going to be honest, I think that we've got every opportunity in front of us right now to move forward and truly make Columbia shine. Is that 1 minute or 1 second? That was 1 second? Okay. Well, I cut it off when he hit 0. That's good.
All right, Lord, have mercy.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
the
ma'am.
ones that want to ask questions, can they line up?
Yes, ma'am, that's fine. All right.
Okay. All right, so my question is, can you give us an update on the park and also the work that is happening at Citizens Bank?
That's a good question. I've been wondering about this.
Which one you wondering about, Ben?
The Citizen Bank.
All right, Citizens Bank. So to tell you a little bit about that, for many years we've been plagued with sewer inundation on Eagle Day Avenue. Every time we have a flash flood event, because we have such an old crumbling sewer system, it takes on rainwater. When it takes on rainwater, it inundates that system, and it cannot carry the amount of water that was hitting it in front of Citizens Bank. We are constructing a new, modern, I mean, it's the Cadillac of all lift stations, but it's also an item that we're putting in place here in Columbia that will be here 50 years from now, still working for Columbia. So thinking long term, that particular lift station takes about 75% of the city's sewer, and it is the final stop before it gets to the lagoon, which is a 40-acre retention pond or lagoon behind Griner Drilling Services. So it's a $4.2 million project. We've got it scaled down to about a $3.9 million project, and we're about a month ahead of schedule right now. For the last month and a half, we've been waiting on Mississippi Power to relocate the transformer so that they can actually fire up that lift station. When they do that, I feel like it is going to significantly help the sewer issues that we experience on South Main, as well as the Mississippi Avenue, Alphabet streets along Lumberton Road. When we're able to help carry that and get it out of here, it's going to, again, rectify a lot of the problems that we experience there. We were also having an overflow. It was overflowing in the creek every time that it flooded. And that's the deal that you're dealing with DEQ. They understand that it's an issue, and they are monitoring it. It's something that we we opened the door and said, hey, look, we've got this issue and we want y'all to come here and know about it so you don't get a phone call about it later on and have any thought that we're hiding it. And anyway, so they monitor the overflow. If it happens, it only happens in a significant rain event. But as soon as we can get that thing up and going, we will hopefully rectify a lot of that problem. And again, it's under budget and it is ahead of schedule. Less waiting on Mississippi Power.
What about the park, briefly?
They started today putting down the flooring. We've been at a standstill for some time, waiting on a couple things to be delivered. We were waiting on the site fencing for the playground, as well as the temperature to be right for them to come in and put the flooring down. It has to be 56 degrees or warmer each day, and it can't drop down. Like the projected low that night cannot drop down into the 30s. I mean, if it gets in the 40s, they can deal with that, but if it gets any colder into the 30s, what it does is causes that glue that they're using and mixing. They got like a cement mixer out there that's constantly churning the rubber pellets that they're pouring in it and the resin or glue. And if it gets too cold, it'll go dormant and it will not bind together. So that's what's taken so long. We've been waiting on pretty dry weather. They have driven down over the weekend from New York State to do that work, and there's a 4-man crew out there. It is a labor-intensive job, and they are getting after it.
Okay. You got a question, man?
So first I want to say that I am so impressed with both of you guys. As I just told your mother, was that you really impressed me as a 19-year-old to have a purposeful life. Just to be, if we get more people your age with the same mindset, I mean, this whole town and community is going to be great. Thank you. Because you have the seed that was planted in you, and you know, I see God in you. So that's more positive. And you already know how I feel about you. You've always embraced us. And I just want to say, you know, I'm kind of an outsider, but still I'm here. I've been here 7 years, and I want you to say, Columbia, you guys be careful of the things that you want. Meaning I came from a town in California, Northern California, East Palo Alto, California, look it up. And it came incorporated in 1983. East Palo Alto was a very poor, was at the time the #1 murder city of California because of the size that it was, just like Columbia. But now East Palo Alto is one of the richest places in California because it is the home of Facebook. My mother and my grandmother and them They all own property there, but now we cannot afford it.
Right.
No one can afford it. We went through the same infrastructure, and that's the reason why I have a little passion about what's going on here, because I graduated, I'm not gonna tell you how old I am, but when I graduated in 1987 and I had my children in 1990, I, as a young mother, wasn't able to afford it because of the growth and development. And so be careful of the things that you want. People ask, why did you come to Columbia? Why are you here? That's the question. Why didn't I go to Hattiesburg, or why didn't I move? The reason why I came to the little town of Columbia is because of the people that were in it. The people that I met, Miss Ann Cooper, makes me want to cry. I'm a crier.
It's all right.
I wanted to come to a place that will be accountable for me and my family. And that's what Columbia has done. My daughter, Katie Gates, she flourished, she came. I mean, she would have been a star where we were. Anyway, but you guys held her accountable. You guys watched her. I wasn't afraid to have her here. My church family came, they watched her if I needed her because I was working and traveling. The people that I met, Justin, you guys came out to see her when she won her championships. You guys supported her, and that is the reason why I came to Columbia. Be careful of the things that you guys want. You have to create a foundation. I know I see things, and I came from what we're doing, my husband is doing. We're trying to help and improve and give beauty to it. And it's not always about money, because one of the things I'm trying to do is do a home for a transitional home for people. But you have to have a great foundation. And I know no matter, I live in the Orchard area and I have property over there. I don't know what area that is. What's that area called? I don't know, Carolyn Avenue. The flooding and things is all messed up over there too. So no matter what, I think it's gonna be a win-win situation. No matter what, I think whoever wins, are you guys gonna work together to bring your passion, to bring your vision, to let the people know? And I think there's some things you brought up today about new grants and funding for new builds. I didn't know about that. I would have been building something brand new by now. I mean, how are you going to let people know and communicate? I think the biggest fault about Columbia right now is marketing and communication. You gotta let everyone know, not just a select few. How are you going to change that?
That's actually a good question, and I'm glad that you mentioned it, because the one thing that I'm going to tell you that we're going to start with first is reinstating the Planning Commission. And the Planning Commission is a committee that was formed in 1960, and in 1969 the ordinance was revised a little bit. However, there's not really been any revision to it since. The zoning and planning map that I received and that this board works with is from 1971. Following the completion of the annexation, we began work on an updated zoning and planning map and new zoning ordinances. Cayman's helping me already. But the board and I have been working on this comprehensive plan to move forward. We hired one of the best affiliates in the state, which is Slaughter and Associates, to work with us on it. And it's not something we're wanting to rush through. I mean, we can throw together some papers with a lot of fancy words and a lot of ambitious goals, but we want them to be realistic goals. We want them to be realistic regulations. We can try to hold people to building the same kind of home here that you would have to build in Florida or California if you want to, but that's going to drive the cost up tremendously. And that's not what we want to do. We want to build a plan that has realistic and obtainable results. And we're going to continue working on that. With the Planning Commission, we'll appoint 7 people to the commission, and they will be tasked with helping outline the future of Columbia. It doesn't mean they're the only people that have a say in it. It just means that It's 7 people from across our town. They will come from a diverse background of contracting, architectural, and a variety of other important things, engineering. And actually in that ordinance, it says that the mayor and the city engineer are ex officiates of that board. So we would not be a voting member, but we would sit on that board as well. And we're gonna reestablish that thing, get it going, and get the right people, I think key people involved with it in our community. And it's gonna be a diverse group, as my staff currently is, with Adrian Fortenberry as our police chief, Maria Temple's my city clerk, Juanita Bolton, Stovall, I guess I can call her that. She'll always be Juanita Bolton, but Juanita Stovall, sitting next to her, she is our human resource director. Anita Eccles is my court clerk. Donovan McComb is our city judge. We have 2 attorneys that are hired under that court. We have a city attorney. We have a diverse group of people in our mix already. And, you know, we've got, with Adrian, the first black police chief, and with Reggie Crowther, the highest ranking black fireman that we've ever had as a captain at the fire department. And I mean, we're going to continue to show that we include, everybody has an opportunity at the table. And it is an equal employment opportunity zone. And not only that, it's going to be a diverse and well-versed group. You're not going to get it just because of who you are, who you know, something like that. You're going to get it on qualifications. And I think we've proven that and going to continue doing so. Ben wanted me to introduce Miss Anna Evans, who's sitting back here in the window. She's alderwoman in Ward 3, and that's the Carolyn Avenue area. So if you want to fuss, she is your lady. All right.
Mr. Watts, do you have anything to say on that?
Well, I turned it off so I wouldn't be bumping it.
Where's my next question?
Here we go. Marketing. Well, I have plans for that. One thing we got to do is make everything more accessible to the public. Right now, we don't have a city website, and so we need a city website that can broadcast a lot of things. For as ways you could build, you could start a business here. Maybe if you want to report something in the community, you can go there to do that. You can stay up to date with what's going on, events to come. Maybe you can even start paying your water bill through that website, or doing certain things, or even you can request a meeting with the mayor. You can, it's so many things you can do on the website, but we need to have a city website. That is important. When I go, to be honest with you, I've spoken with an investor, and he wanted to potentially invest into Columbia. He went to Google, looked up the city of Columbia. There was nothing. And so I looked like a fool telling him about Columbia, and we don't got a website. So we have to make things more accessible to the public to brighten this up. Another thing is I plan to maybe implement some marketing things in our community where they help businesses market their items, their services, their products, whatever it is, but they help them market what they're doing in their business. And also it's helping business owners, teach them how to market their business, ways they can be more, lighten up their business, ways they can scale up their business. But most importantly, we need a city website, and making things more accessible to the public is key to my vision.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. Go ahead. You got a question?
I was next, but you back to her.
Oh.
Well, here, sir, it don't matter. She raised her hand.
Everybody's gonna get
Well, I lined up behind me
Okay.
to start the
All right, go ahead.
Sorry, I lined up properly and followed the proper decorum. So I was not attempting to be rude or ignorant, but I just didn't appreciate that. I'm sorry. The thing that I wanted to ask is, I was not born and raised here, military child, born in Vicenza, Italy, but I've been present in this town since I've been 5 years old. One of the things that has been a big issue for a number of years is the road, but as well as the quality of care of the product they use to fix it. But something else that's really big is employment for Mississippians, for Colombians to actually maintain it. We're looking at the Mississippi Department of Transportation that's handling that bridge out there, and it's handling a lot of other projects here in town. We also have with the Waffle House that's happening there. I've gone numerous times. I have to pass through when I substitute teach at East Marion and West Marion and work at other functions in town. We're held up about 20 to 30 minutes every morning trying to pass through that. Since I've been a kid, that's been an issue. One of the other issues with that as well is, even though the Mississippi Department of Transportation is handling it, now, because there's live stream and different things, it'll change probably. But every time we drive by, when you look, nothing wrong with it. My 2 daughters are Hispanic. I was born in Vicenza, Italy. But there is predominantly Hispanic people that are working that we know do not have the proper documentation, as well as when you go over here to the Waffle House. How are you going to work and came in if elected? How will the both of you guys decide on how these jobs are done properly for the city, but ensuring that there is a special place set up for immigration reform for these people that are coming in and being fleeced, that they actually are able to maintain employment and not get shipped out with ICE when they're done working, but also that we're getting these jobs that are actually going to stimulate the true essence of the Columbia economy. Because if Mississippi Department of Transportation is handling that and that's contracted through T.L. Wallace, that's a very huge issue that speaks to the rest of this community. One person working here, you're making $14,000 a year. $16,000, yeah, that's your national stats. That still puts you $2,000 below the poverty line. 2-family homes still needs to get to at least $24,000. Guess what? You're stuck at $18,000 to $19,000. 3-family home, you need to get to 26. You're still stuck at 24. So total cumulative, you're looking at about $8,000 for 3-family homes to single families that are not working up to the national average. I love you guys, sorry for the looks that I'm getting, but you guys are the ones who are making the $30,000 to $50,000 a year. That puts you at a different stratosphere. How are you gonna work with the Department of Transportation, work with the true essence of the economy to refine what's been happening here for years, to also give us a true fighting chance, so that if we don't know the proper people in order to step up, we can still actually afford to live and have our houses and our families done the right way. I know that was more than one question, but I had to find a way to sneak it in.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. All right, so one thing I do want to point out, we actually do have a city website. It is cityofcolumbiams.com, and on that website you can apply for a permit and you can also pay your water bill. One of the things that I definitely want to do, and it's actually, if I had my notes from my phone out, as I walked up on the stage initially, I had it in my hand and I put it in my pocket because I'd rather just speak to you from the heart than read it. But the implementation of a new website, and we have researched, we've talked about this. This has been one thing that Alderwoman Andrea Porter has just been pressing me on. And the one that I've found that I like the best right now is the city of Pearl, Mississippi. So it has just about every option you could ask for on it. The city of Columbia, Missouri has an amazing website, and Brandon, Mississippi has a pretty good website. So we're going to continue to search for the right website and the right designer and let them build one for the city that has more features and functions than what we currently offer on it. Now, that being said, MDOT is MDOT, and there's absolutely nothing that we can do with them as far as what they're doing on that bridge and how they're doing the flow of traffic. My personal opinion, I think that the turnoff onto South High School Avenue should probably be blocked. I know that the business owners out there don't agree with that and wouldn't want it, but at the same time, I think for safety reasons, you should not be able to turn left onto High School Avenue while the construction is going on. Because too often, somebody's looking to see what's changed, what's happened over here to the right, or looking over here at the trailers to the left, and they're not paying attention to that car that stopped. So that's where we are seeing and experiencing the most accidents. And I look, and the chief shaking his head, that's about right. So we're having to work those accidents, not the highway patrol, because it is within the city. Correct. And it would be nice if that were a realistic option and that they would move forward with it. T.L. Wallace Construction, the staff and administrators there have also made that request. Again, I know it wouldn't be the popular answer for the business owners out there, but it might be the right answer for the safety of the passing motorist. As far as their employees, I can't tell you who all is employed by who out there. One of the things I know is the drill company that has some of the largest cranes out there, not all of them, but some of them, they're actually drilling the cylinder into the ground and then they're pouring it full of concrete. They're from Texas. And as far as I know, Southwest Texas, there's only, according to what I was told about that project, there's only 2 companies in the country that drill in the middle of like that flowing water in the middle of a river or lake at any given time and set those pillars or columns. So I don't know enough about it to speak directly, but I do know that that company that is contracted under them as a sub to do those is out of Texas, and that may be where the Hispanic population is coming from.
No, I've spoken to them. They're from here.
The Hispanic population is from here?
Yes,
Okay.
they're from here.
All right.
Or at least they're residing here.
Yeah, so if they're employees of T.L. Wallace Construction, I'm thankful that a local company such as T.L. Wallace is locally owned and operated right here in Columbia and employs hundreds of people from Columbia and Marion County and surrounding areas such as the Pine Belt. I'm thrilled that they have that big bridge project and that they are doing that work. I can't account for if they have illegal immigrants out there. That's way out of my lane because that gets into the federal regulations. It's not a state law, it's a federal law. What I have discussed with Chief Fortenberry, at any time, should ICE or a federal agency show up and say, look, we're going to do this and we want y'all to go with us, okay, we will go and stand by, but we're not going and engaging because that is under their authority and what they have the right to go and move forward with. However, we will not stand in their way if we want them to do their job and do it efficiently and effectively all across our country. But we're not going to try to do their role, and we don't want them to come here and try to patrol the streets of Columbia either. So I think that answers some of your question, most of it. The folks at Waffle House, I know they've used local contractors for some of it. I don't know who the general contractor is that's doing that work. I'm thrilled that they're coming to Columbia and locating here. I'm sure they went with the lowest bidder, when they put out the job specs and were trying to acquire a general contractor. But at the same time, they've used companies just like Jones Ready Mix for their concrete. That's a locally owned company that has been able to mix and deliver from right here in Columbia and Marion County. Again, if they have anybody working for them that shouldn't be, maybe ICE is watching the video.
What is our city government doing to ensure that these individuals have a place to go for proper citizenship and to actually be properly acclimated to be a part of society?
So the city is not doing anything to make sure that they have that here in the city because, again, it's a federal deal. They would need to go to a federal building. I would love to have a new federal office for the Social Security
Trump just said that it's a
and
state
others.
Trump has said multiple times the state, and that he's leaving the power in the state to be able to handle that. So,
Well then, yeah, if it's a state, then it would be the states. I have no idea how you would need to go about getting your proper documentation to establish here. I am working with a resident here in Columbia who is somehow or another ended up overseas and married, and he is trying to get his wife here, but he's trying to go through the proper channels. And I've helped facilitate conversations between Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith's office and Senator Roger Wicker's office, and information that he has been able to receive and had to transmit back to them. And I'm happy to work with him because I'm thrilled that they're trying to do it the right way. And I think that America is a great opportunity, a great place for people to come and pursue that thought of being independent and free and successful. But I wish that people would do it the right way. And I'm proud that the federal government's taking a stand on it. And, at any other given time, it would be the state or the federal government's responsibility. I would love to have a lot of different services here that are currently not offered by our state and our federal government. Due to the population and all, it just is not a reality.
All right, Mr. Kennedy, I think we got a question here.
Well, if Cayman may want to respond to that as well, so.
Go ahead.
Well, I definitely agree, but one thing I want to say is that's important to me, that Columbians have Columbia jobs, which means we're investing back into our community, and our money is circulating around our community. It's important that we bring our dollars back into our community. That's what I have on that. Let's get to the next question.
Mine's more of a statement than a question, so y'all don't have to answer. Yay. Two, actually. One, just to let you know, before I'm grouped in with anybody, I don't know what they make, but I only make $16,000 a year, so don't just assume. Second, and I'm a single income home. Yeah, so, second, one way that we can work together as us in this room with the police department, like Mayor McKenzie said, yes, I used to work there and I love them there. I truly do. One thing that we can do, us in here, and foster a relationship with them when we see things that could be rumors, could be truth. We don't know, we weren't there on the book of faces, because that's what it is. Don't comment. You know nothing about it. We really don't. Were you there? No. I wasn't there. I mean, that's courtesy, and that's just the smartest thing to do. Because the more we comment, the more it stirs up. Because somebody's gonna see your comment, and they're gonna say, oh, well, if he said that, or if she said that, well, it must be true. You know? Am I right? I mean, does that make sense? So that's one way that we in here can foster a relationship with the police department and help them. You know, you may not trust them, and not all of them are bad. I promise. I promise. Okay? I love them. I really do. So that's all I wanted to say.
Mr. Watts?
Yes, ma'am.
As a God-fearing man,
Yes,
and this has nothing to do with anything that we've discussed, but it is something that I would like to know. Yes. As a God-fearing man, what is your position? How do you feel about open containers, alcohol on Main Street public event or any public event in Columbia?
Well, I think that public safety is key to anything. That's right. And anything, whenever open container interferes with public safety, it's an issue. And so I think that we must keep public safety priority. And if we want to implement or include some things after that, we have to ensure that public safety is the priority. So I don't want to give a premature answer, but I definitely believe public safety, and also our kids, making sure that our kids are not in bad environments to where they're seeing things or hearing things that they shouldn't. And so that's how I feel on that.
Imitate, actually.
Ma'am?
They imitate, actually.
Absolutely, right away.
I'm a child advocate for
That's
about
right.
60 years. So,
you know how important
yes.
their eye gates and their ear gates are.
Okay,
How y'all doing? My name's Ken. Y'all may, y'all looking at me and y'all going, who is this guy? Y'all actually know me. If you've been to a music festival, I'm one of the MCs. If you've ever been to Nativity, I'm one of the three kings.
There you go.
Okay, anyway, so, this is for both of y'all. Y'all keep saying, we need to break money. We need to do something downtown. What about the music festivals? What about the Nativity? All of this stuff brings people in.
Yeah.
Last year, we almost got our throat cut by the city. No one individual, but the whole collective.
When you say cutthroat,
in the Nativity and the festivals. Monies and all was promised and nothing was delivered, or very little was delivered. Yes, I'm calling y'all. What are y'all gonna do this year?
I'd like to know what
And
you're
what do you
calling
wanna
us
do?
on
What?
as far as,
Very little, you know, they were
we
promised
spent
in the nativity.
$20,000 on the stage for the
Oh, I'm with
nativity.
you. Oh,
We
I'm with
spent
you.
that 20,000. We spent the money that was used right up here for the stage, for the parade, for the Marion County Development Partnerships Parade of Lights.
Oh, yeah, I got you. I'm with you. But more was promised and some was cut. A lot of the plans that was made for the festivals and the nativity was based on one budget. Okay, now, who promised who to that? But some of the higher ups come down and said, this is how much money you're gonna have. And when we got down to it, we had half of that or less.
I don't recall, Jason, Andrea, Anna, I've got 3 people in here. At what meeting did we turn down any funding that was requested?
That's just the number we were.
Can y'all recall the meeting that we turned down requested money?
But what are y'all gonna do with
The guy who was responsible for heading up the nativity got every dime that he asked for in the nativity, and that was to provide the stage. That was $20,000 just for the stage.
I'm with you.
So when it comes to the music festivals, what was cut out of the music festivals? And we've got people from Main Street. Jen Double N's here, and Megan is here. I know Ken from the auction gallery, so he used all these others and left out Ken from the auction. What was promised and cut? Because this last year, Main Street Inc. has not had a director, and I don't recall, according to the bylaws of Main Street having a meeting with all of its businesses that are members, because it has no business entities paying dues to it. So it's in default, and we should have cut out the $18,000 that was already provided to Main Street Inc. if we wanted to do that. So I'm asking and throwing out here, I want to know, because you've called us out, and I want to be able to respectfully, I want the people to leave here with a good answer of why and where the money's at. We paid $18,000 in dues, or in allocation to Main Street for this past year, for it to pay a director and it to pay the Main Street dues to Mississippi Main Street. Where's the meetings? When are the businesses involved? Who are the member businesses? And when it comes to the music festivals, what did we not do? So, I mean,
Now, this is just the words that's coming in and the words that's coming down. You know, being involved in both. Okay?
Okay?
So,
So I don't think that you use a public platform to come in and call a board of aldermen or the mayor out that something wasn't funded when you haven't come and got the he said, she said out of the middle of it. That's the problem with Facebook, as Holly kind of alluded to. I'm just saying,
Thank you.
we can do the he said, she said all day long. And there's no sense in it when you can come down and find out what you want to know. And if y'all see an area of interest, I met with Jen this past week. We've discussed this coming year's events, and we had a great discussion. I mean, I left there with a positive response to it.
That's the information that should be out there. Okay? Not the information rolling around that, yeah, these guys here, this guy here is hindering up, these guys here is hindering up. People out here is, you know, open containers, running up down the street naked, giving beer to little children. Okay? That is not the message we're trying to give. The message we're trying to give is we're pulling people in.
Yeah.
We're doing 3, 4, 5 events on top of each other. One has nothing to do with the other. Okay? But when the alderman, the mayor, Main Street, there's another one here. They come out and all of them's got a different story. They're not on the same page. Y'all got to get together and give the same message. If I got to stand up here and call all of y'all out on something different so y'all can get on the same page, I'll do it every day.
Isn't there a monthly meeting?
All right, Mr. Mayor, I think.
We meet twice a month, and it's open meetings at 4 o'clock on the first Tuesday and the third Tuesday of every month. We average about 3 citizens, typically Reverend Donald Watts, Mike, why can't I think of Mike's last name, lives on High School Avenue. Mike White. And then ever so often, Miss Brenda Shields attends those meetings. So, you know, the door's open. Anybody can come in there, and I have yet to have a meeting that I didn't go off of the agenda and say, I'm going to use you for the example because you're standing up there, Jen. Ma'am, do you have anything? Before we get out of here and close that meeting, I'm going to typically refer to you if you have anything, because, you know, some folks come and they don't know they have to be on the agenda, and they're not there for a big issue. They're just like, hey, I just wanted to find out about such and such, and that's always an opportunity. But
I think Ms. Jim wants to add a little to that.
All I want to say is, Ken's right. I mean, the information that gets out there, that he said, she said, this, that, the other, and on the Book of Faith or any of the other places, don't trust all that junk.
Thank you.
Just don't. Just don't. As far as monies that were not allocated and things like that, I think we don't understand things. As far as the music festival itself, everything that we asked for was provided, that we asked for. There are things that in discussions that we made to have a discussion about, and it may be, so therefore there was never a specific request to Anna or Jason or them. So there was never a specific request that was denied. And so I think that's a little bit of the, you know, he said, she said stuff. I have pretty much decided this year, I'm going big or going home. And I'm gonna ask whether I have to come to an alternate meeting or wherever, and we're gonna ask. And no, I'm not the director of Main Street. I am the event coordinator that is contracted. So part of that funding from the city does pay for my contract until we do get a director. So as far as that goes, not the full amount, just so y'all know, I don't make that. Just so you know. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of clarify that. Formal requests were not denied. A formal request has not been denied. Discussions were different. The music festival, now the one thing I will take a moment to say is yes, we bring a bunch of stuff here. We've got a calendar full of stuff coming up this year, and Columbia does need to come out and actually support things and actually show up. You know, it's embarrassing whenever you pay a band that's coming at a pretty discounted rate. Or my gosh, when we have Todd Tillman at the, you know, Christmas voice winner, and we got 100 people in the street. That's embarrassing. So anyway, that's all my little soapbox, but I just wanted to clarify that just a little bit.
Don't forget Glenn over here, Ben. We ain't gonna forget you. And I'm gonna hand him the mic.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Cameron.
Just responding to Jen, like she said, everything is budgeted. We have a budget that's set out every year, and we have to approve that budget. And we can't just go in and spend a lot of extra money that was not budgeted for said reasons. Because you've got to budget it for infrastructure, you've got to budget it for paving, you've got to budget it for parks and recreation, etc. That being said, we've had a lot of discussion, and I do, for the fairness of this, want to give Cayman the mic, just so he can touch base on some of it.
Well, as they were saying, it's definitely important that as a community, we be more involved in what's going on. If we want things to really take place and this community to go to another level, we've got to be involved. We've got to be a part of it. Even if you're not receiving a personal gain from it, just be a part of it because it's something good in the community and something good for the community. Now, I do, as I said earlier, I have plans to make things more accessible to the public. And so, as they were saying, people hardly show up to the town hall meetings, the city hall meetings, board meetings. Well, I have plans to start live streaming those, to where if you're not able to show up,
You can catch it on live, but some type of through website maybe, or also hosting regular town hall meetings where you could come in and ask questions. So you don't have to go off the hearsay, and you can come right up to the mayor's Q&A and ask what's going on with this, or why has it been cut, whatever. But however, transparency is important, and that's what we will provide to you. And also, as another way we want to get y'all involved into where your tax dollars are being spent. And so it's just not us making a decision on the board, but it's y'all you able to voice your opinions. You able to have a say in how a portion of the budget has been spent, and that so you can be more involved and know where your tax dollars are going exactly. And so, and also know exactly what's going on in the community.
Thank you, Mr. Watts. This lady's got a question.
Well, I have two questions in one.
Okay.
One of them, what used to be Berlin's, what are we gonna do about that? I mean, that's an eyesore, coming down Main Street, and all you see is looking into a hole. And then my other one is, we are local vendors, and you're saying bringing the money back to the community, using local. So what about the vendors and the catering? How can we incorporate them into being able to run their businesses, like on weekends? I see this, Ms. Donna know we fought that. He's still down here with all this trash that he's selling right there at the gas station at the red light, but we are our local vendors and stuff. We need to be able to look at that and allow those vendors to come in. If we don't do nothing but let them go up there to Bluff Street Park and be able to market from there, market down here by Wolf Lumber Company. I would like to see our local vendors be able to as well get a piece of the pie.
I think we'll have the same answer for this. We would love to see the Columbia local vendors with that option as well. You're talking about right here at the gas station when they set up and sell out of that box truck? Yeah. And so that guy has a transient vendor license. It's a more expensive license each year that he has to buy. And I'm glad you're back to Glenn. He was fixing to come get you.
That lady's been raising her hand over. Hey, that's
all right, good deal. He has a transient vendor license, and that's how he operates. There's, every town has them. We have a food truck ordinance. We just expanded that food truck ordinance to include City Park and more days during the week. When we first issued that food truck ordinance, I can't tell you the tongue lashings that I took over that because we were killing the mom and pop businesses. And that wasn't the case. They've still done really well from what we've seen, and I believe they'll continue to do well. That's going to be way more comfortable too.
Yeah, Ben knew I was short. He got me to tall shirt. He could
She has that problem.
And
I'm with you.
just a little insight. Appreciate it.
My God, y'all don't make
All right, we were rearranging this place. Anyway, the building on Main Street, it was at a point where it was so risky. The glass was literally falling out the front that the company that owns it, they couldn't risk someone getting hurt or killed, so they went ahead, or seriously injured for that matter. They blocked it off before one of the parade events, and then they come back and they removed the front of it. It's clean. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing. I understand that. I think that the owner understands that as well. And he has made a huge investment in an office complex and in a warehouse and other facility here in Columbia that, maybe kind of one of them deals where it's out of sight, out of mind, but it has been a huge investment. And I have been assured, through our contacts that he definitely intends to move forward with that. They were looking for different options as they were tax incentives and options, maybe through the MDA and such. And I've said that 3 times, I think, but we'll try it one more time. I know that they're aware, and I know they have plans and I know that they intend to work on it. There's some other buildings that are downtown that need attention as well, and I feel like that they're going to do the same thing with those. And you know, like every other thing, there is an option. The Board of Aldermen can move forward with letters and try to encourage the work. But I feel like, you know, everybody don't know everything that they've invested in and what they've done kind of behind the scenes. And I feel like that, you know, that's on their radar. I mean, the other buildings that I've seen that they've had anything to do with, they've done a remarkable job cleaning up and making very presentable. And, you know, I know that the board has taken action on a lot of stuff. We've got a couple rundown houses over next to Pioneer. And, you know, from prior experience, you know, we can only deal with one property on a block in a year. So it's not something, you got 3 or 4 over there that need to come down all at once, and you can't deal with but one. If you do anything with one, you can't touch the other 3, you know, to the next year and do one more. So it's a process, and I believe that we're going to continue to see investment downtown, and we're going to see investment in our community that makes improvements wholeheartedly.
To just address some of these dilapidated buildings and residential homes, well, we got to start in code enforcement to where these people are abiding by the building compliance, residential compliance, and because it not only hurts the business, hurts our community, but it starts to hurt and affects the businesses on downtown Main Street. No one wants to just come out there and hang out no more when you can see straight through a building. Or you look up and it's raining hard, you get wet. No one wants that. So it's important that we start to be actively enforcing codes around here and make sure that everybody is staying on building compliance.
All right. All right. This is for both of you, okay? Came to me and they said, Glenn, the city look horrible with trash, limb piles up the side of the road, beds out the side of the road. I know this man sitting right beside me trying to do his best. He's been doing this for years. Hey, I know for a fact it's hard for him to do. Trust me. They're trying to keep up with everything. Everybody's complaining about all this trash. They call into City Hall, want the limbs picked up or want beds picked up. It ain't getting done. I was fixing to run for mayor, but then they decided I couldn't run. Okay, but we got over with that. Thank God. I didn't have to put up with it like both of y'all have to. But let me tell you, you know, the ideal downtown, okay, City Hall, people go to the City Hall. I had some people from Oak Grove come to the City Hall. They see the old barber shop, you know, the city barber shop. A lot of people don't know the city barber shop. That building's falling down. That might be the Watsons or Christians. I don't know whose it is. But it's falling down right in front of your place. It looked horrible. We need to get them down before somebody get hurt. If, you know, the other day I seen a homeless guy laying at the bank. I had to go by the bank, and I said, this guy laying out here and it's fixing open. The homeless people ain't got nowhere to go. We need somewhere for these homeless people to go in Columbia. We ain't got nothing in Columbia for people. But our streets is horrible. Y'all both mentioned it, you mentioned it. You know, we know we're getting some pavement done most places. But I tell you, you got to focus on the sidewalks we got right now on Hawkins Avenue. People walk from Polktown to go to Pick and Save. I mean, from Northwood Village. And the sidewalks, I got pictures on my phone. Manhole covers off. People call me, man, I ain't the mayor. I ain't alderman. You know, look, I'm just stating a fact. This is what people want done. And it's hard. Trust me, my daddy did it for 48 years in the city of Columbia on the street department. He had his job. And I worked for the city for 15 years in the water department. It's hard to get the stuff done, you know, but we got to work together. Like both of y'all got to work together. With all my heart, this is a godly man's running against you. And you're a godly man. I knew you a long time. I remember when you was a police officer. You was a great police officer. I ain't going to deny that a bit. But we need a little change in Columbia. That's what people's wanting. They want you to change. You know, Mr. Watts change. We want to change. And like downtown, look, we had something going, y'all, it was unreal. I coached ball at Taylor Park, okay, in Hattiesburg and Oak Grove. People was coming from all over, doctors, and I worked in Canebrake a lot, lawyers, doctors, they was coming to the Christmas stuff. And then, it's just, we did it a couple years and then we're gonna be done with it. You know, work with Christians, because Christians have donated a lot of time in this town. It's gonna look great service, and he's got a lot of employees in the city of Columbia. A lot. You know, and he wanna help Columbia. Work with him. It ain't about, I want to be stronger than Christian. I want to be stronger. I work for Tommy Wallace. I know. Trust me, I work hand in hand with T.L. Wallace. Look, you got to work together with everybody. Don't straddle the fence. You got to help everybody. Don't be afraid he's going to take my little thunder. You know, everybody's going to, you know, everybody in Columbia want a part. Just like this man just said, hold on, I'm talking. Listen. Hey, I mean, everybody else talk, I'm going to talk. But listen, we got a great board. Hey, and they trying to do the best job they can. Well, we need our city to be cleaned up. And I know, hey, it's horrible. And that's what all people talking about. The limbs, trash, and just like me and him was talking. It's hard for them. And our police officers ain't going to come to Columbia making $15 an hour, $12 an hour. Man, we got to hire the best, and we got to pay the best. We got to pay for the best. Just like our street department. We got to pay people money to come here, like most other cities do. We the lowest paid, our police officers lowest paid in the state, in Marion County. I'm going to let you go. Okay.
Appreciate that, Glenn, Mr. Glenn. To answer that, or to respond to your statement, we definitely want to work with everyone to better this city. And it takes us all rallying together to bring true change. One person can't do it alone. We all have to find some way, somehow, to contribute to change. And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, like Mayor McKenzie said. It's a process to it. But you got to start putting steps in place that are progressively in that direction you're wanting to get. But however, this week, there's definitely a lot of areas in our community that we can clean up. Actually, March the 28th at 9 o'clock, I'm doing a community-wide cleanup. So, are you that concerned about the way Columbia looking? Are you concerned about the trash and the bad sticks and limbs? Well, get up 9 o'clock in the morning and come help us clean up. That's how you can be a solution to the problem instead of bringing the problem without a solution. And so, I encourage you to come out there, and also Mayor McKenzie, you come it's about community coming together.
This man asked where you're meeting up at.
Where we meeting at? We're meeting up at New Life, right? New Life parking lot, right there by Raines, with at Pastor Terry Wing's church at New Life. We go start there, and we go make our way back towards the city park, towards Park Avenue and Broad Street. And we'll end at 12. So I'm sure you can take out a couple hours of your day to clean up your community that you're so concerned about. And so, and we're gonna help you out as well. But in another thing, as I've said before, we gotta work together to start to, even outside of just picking up trash, to bring new businesses and clean up our businesses that we got. We gotta go have them sit at the table and say, hey, this is what we see as in leadership administration, as the city government. This is the things that we expect. This is the new direction that we're wanting to go in. Now, with that being said, as a business owner, we want you to be on board. We want you to be involved. We want you to be a part of this. But in order for you to be a part of this, you got to clean up your mess outside your business. Just straight up, right? And so, especially on Lumberton, I think it's Lumberton Road by Southern Friday Rabbit. Those buildings across there, they look terrible. They've been looking terrible for High School Avenue. That's it. Those buildings been looking terrible. I know for the past 15 years. I'm not 30. Well, for 30 years. And so we have to get those business owners, if they're deceased, whoever inherited that property, either you want to clean it up or We'll go find you until you get something to do with it, or we're going to take the property. And I'm sure, being a real estate realtor, I know quite a few homes in Columbia that are haven't paid property taxes, and they still own that property. Has to stop. That's money just going. We haven't even thought about, and so we have to start either making them do something with their residential properties, invest in it, so you can bring more affordable housing to Columbia, or whatever the next step is. But we have to start making steps to bring this community forward with the vision of unity, growth, and opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree that there are a lot of unsightly areas in town, a lot of unsightly homes. But one thing about it, if we haven't discovered in our life that everybody in here is, except for one, is old enough to vote. Everybody in here has been around for a little while. So I'm saying that in the nature of, you know as well as I do, the government can't do everything. And you darn well shouldn't depend on the government to do everything for you. You need to take ownership. And that's not everybody. There are people, and what you find a lot of times is with property that is owned by the tenant is better maintained than property that is rented. Renters don't care because they can move out. They can leave it to you. We have a new code enforcement officer, Walter Smith. He brings in 35 plus years of professional contracting experience to the table. He's got a vast amount of knowledge about electrical and code enforcement from Texas to Fort Walton Beach, Florida. He's worked for various cities, counties, etc. along the way, and I've worked in various cities and counties along the way. And he's bringing a tremendous amount of knowledge to the table. But another thing to say about it is he wanted to know, am I going to be able to carry guns? Well, in Columbia, while that's probably not going to be perceived that well, he said, well, in other cities they do, because you're not going there to make anybody's day. And I said, well, I understand what you're saying. So we had discussed it, and we discussed it with the city attorney. He works under the privy of the Columbia Police Department as a code enforcement officer, and he's authorized to carry his firearm now. And that is not for him to get out there and wield a firearm around. That is for him to protect himself when he runs across a mad Ken who's going to whoop him, you know. Another thing that I can say that we've done in effort to combat the tremendous amount of debris is when I started, we had 2 debris trucks that ran daily. They had a driver and a hopper in each one. We've got 2 debris trucks that run daily, every day that they're not broke down or that we're having to make repairs to them, which is about 4 out of 5 days of the week that they're running. We do experience problems because they are man-made and they are coming up in age. But we've got a brand new debris truck that will help us not only respond to regular debris piles and just the call at the springtime is the worst for the city because everybody's trimming everything back. And then you have residential properties that maybe rentals or whatever where people just dump everything out by the road and think the city's going to take care of it if they leave it there long enough. And I can battle that through a lengthy process, or we can just go get it and try to get it out of the way for the other residents' sake, you know, for the other homeowners around it. And we try to approach it from that angle and go ahead and go get it. We have to set limitations. We have, Brandon has conflicts with people on a regular basis that he's out trying to say, we are allotted an opportunity to pick up 1 cubic yard of debris from your home during a month. And we can pull up to some homes and pick up 18 to 25 cubic yards because they'll dump it out if you'll pick it up. And that's where people, again, I'm going back to where I started. People need to take ownership of their property and their problems. We've got a landfill that's open on Columbia Purvis Road. We've got the dump station that's open Monday through Friday out on 586. And it's their responsibility to try to get that excessive amount of stuff to it. We are happy to serve our citizens. If you replace a toilet, a water heater, or maybe you replace your couch and you throw it out there, we're going to come by and get it, and we're going to get it as soon as possible. They try to run this entire town in a week. If they come through your neighborhood on Monday and Tuesday, and then I'm going to pick on Glenn, then Glenn comes through and mows your yard and picks your sticks up and piles them up out there, they've already come through your neighborhood. Now, if you'll call City Hall, Lakeisha's going to make every effort to put it on a list that she's going to text Brandon the next morning, hey, here's what I got yesterday, try to get this today. And he's going to make every effort to try to pick it up. At the same time, they've still got the other citizens that haven't been served yet that they've got to go serve. So we try to do that. We've got a chipper truck that runs just about every day of the week. I mean, he's out chipping limbs to reduce that vegetation that we're having to pay to get rid of and the debris that we're having to pay to get rid of. But we're running 4 trucks now total, trying to keep up with it, and it seems like more and more people are becoming dependent on the government when they shouldn't depend on the government to do everything for them. So we're trying, and we're only human.
Okay, I'm gonna kind of wrap this up. I think we got one more question, so we'll hold with that last question. But before the last question, I do want to say I appreciate you all coming out. We did not expect it to go this long. But I am the owner of the Marquee. I also own the Meriden Theater. I own an IT company. We're on the go all the time. But one of our goals here in Columbia is to be a part of the community. One of our objectives here at the Marquee is to host some public events, concerts, comedy shows, that sort of thing. We also do some weddings and that sort of thing because they pay the bills. But, you know, bridezillas and all. But they do pay the bills. But, you know, if you have a suggestion for us, this event was one of our first. We titled it Marquee Matters, and we want to keep those going throughout the year. So if you have a thought or suggestion, and I'll leave the invitation open to the mayor and the mayor-elect as well, or the candidates. And you know, if you want to speak to the community and be a part of the community, feel free to reach out to us. We did this at no cost to the city, no cost to either of the candidates. We just wanted to be able to make sure that they connected with the community and the community connected. And we got some of the Facebook warriors in here versus being on Facebook. I know there's a couple live streams going and there's Facebook warriors out there right now. We will invite you next time as well to join us here at the Marquee events. But they won't. They'll stay on Facebook, but that's okay. We'll read those comments as well and dig into those.
That's it.
But again, I want to say thank you for coming out. If there's anything that we can do for you here at the Marquee, we'll be glad to. Again, any city officials, county officials, or just whatever organization, we're happy to connect and help you be a part of the community as well, because that is part of our mission statement here at Small Town Entertainment. So I will turn it back over to my dad, because he's the public speaker, not me, and he'll get that last question wrapped up.
All right. I want to just say this while I'm going to this man's got a question. We need to be careful. The lady a while ago said, be careful what we want in Columbia. Let me tell you something. I don't want the government all up in my business. I don't want Justin McKenzie or this fellow, if he gets elected, to have to come to my house, tell me I need to paint my house. I want to first of all see that I need to paint it myself. And so we need to be careful, because if it was on shoes on the other foot, somebody come to your house and say, hey, you need to tear this porch off. You ain't gonna like that. We don't need government all up in our business. We need to take care of our own business.
Hats off to you guys, Justin and Kane. My question is to Justin, and then I have a question for Kane. What do you? So we talked a lot about the kids and the park and everything, but what are we doing to retain the kids here as they grow up and graduate? Jobs coming in. How are we enticing businesses to come in? Are we actively seeking businesses to come in? Because
the kids are our future, and we do it with everything we do. When we go to church, a church dies. If you don't keep the youth there, the church dies. The town is the same way. What do you have in goal, Justin, for the future, for work coming in, to retain a quality workforce of hardworking individuals? And Cayman, what is your ideas on bringing in businesses to keep people here in Columbia where they don't have to drive to Hattiesburg or Tylertown, or maybe they got longer commutes, I don't know. But what are you guys' goals for that?
I guess I'll go first. I mean, yeah, it's a good question, Jerry, and it's not a solution that either one of us can come up with on our own. It's a solution that the community has to build around. And, you know, you couldn't be more right about the example with the church. When you hear the children crying in church, that may be annoying to you. It may be really pestering you. But just think about it. That's a future member of that church. And when you see the strong and vibrant youth groups, you see the growing church as a whole. And, you know, they are our future. They are a replacement. And you know, we've got to instill in them and try to direct them in the right way. For too long, and as I come up, and even working at the police department, I personally heard, man, if you want to make it, you got to go somewhere else. So it starts again in the community. Don't keep encouraging kids to go to college and go somewhere else. We've got a couple attorneys, and I'm not, if any attorney is watching this, my disclaimer is I'm not trying to get you unemployed, lose clients, or anything else. We covered that. So all of our attorneys are getting up in age. I mean, and I don't mean that as in they're old. I'm just saying they're starting to age. And you don't see young attorneys coming to Columbia, but there's an opportunity for them here. Several of our attorneys have made a very good living right here in Columbia. You don't see the doctors that you used to see. I mean, we can go down Broad Street or Church Street and talk about doctor this or doctor that that used to live there. And you don't see those doctors anymore because we have satellite systems like Forest Health and Hattiesburg Clinic, who has taken over the hospital. And they're doing really well, I believe, with the hospital. One of the upcoming things that I know is an exciting venture that they're fixing to pursue. They've been pursuing it, but fixing to venture off in is getting a mammography machine. That'll be an opportunity for people to go to Marion General instead of having to go to Hattiesburg for those tests. And I believe that's going to be a tool that'll save lives long term. But again, if we keep putting all our eggs in one basket and sending it all out of here, we're going to continue to see the reduction in those doctors and in those lawyers and things. I mean, it's easy to say, well, if I want to get one of the best law firms, let me call somebody in Hattiesburg, let me call somebody in Jackson, when you've got just as capable attorneys right here in Columbia, when you've got capable IT people here in Columbia, Mississippi, and when you have quality education in our school district. I mean, you've got a way to build the basics, build the platform, and then expound from that to the college and field and go out and get a good quality education in our colleges and then bring that back home and put it to work here. There are the opportunities. Earlier today, I was just sharing with Melissa about Crown Laundry. I mean, there may be several jobs at Crown Laundry that are $10 and $12, $15 an hour, but if you go in there, the facility's automated. There's also quality IT jobs at that laundromat. And, you know, do people even know that? No, they don't really know what we have here in Columbia and what we have the largest independently owned tire distributor in the country, right here in Columbia. We've got one of the fastest growing companies that's basically come out of an incubator from them, and that's Southern Tire Mart at Tyler. And that's another company that they have here now, separate from Southern Tire Mart. And those are some good, high-paying jobs that with a quality education, you can come back and pursue that. So I think one of the biggest things we've got to do is share what's available, and not only what's available, but quit discouraging people and trying to send them out. And if I went to our local community pages, whichever one, about whatever reason, in Columbia, I'd be discouraged to come here. I mean, why? There's so much negativity about everything. I mean, you painted new lines on the street where you used an off shade of white, or you used something different, and nobody's ever happy about it. And I say nobody, most folks are, but somebody's not ever happy about it. And I think that, us coming together as a group, this group right here can be the group that inspires that kind of change in our community by leading our community and leaving out of here and leading it with a positive attitude. And I think that anybody would be crazy to disagree with that. We can change what Columbia is perceived as when we leave from here in a short time, if we work together and try to promote it in a positive manner. And I agree. We need better jobs. We need great jobs. We've got good ones, but we need more. And Jason and I have talked about that. But if they came here, where would they live? You got to have quality housing. I mean, we've been in contact. I've met with several developers about, proceeding with quality housing. Some of them, I hear different stories all the time. One of the biggest challenges is where we have available to build is not in the Columbia School District. So we don't want to build and build in the East Marion School District or a different, West Marion School District. You can't hardly go west from downtown Columbia until you cross the river. I mean, there's nothing down here, and it's all in a flood zone. So you're not going to build down along the river. So we've got to go east, and we've got to find the solutions, whether that's East Marion continuing to pursue excellence, or whether that's a consolidated school. I don't know what that exactly looks like. I'm just saying that we've got to have more than just the jobs, because if the jobs are going to come here, the people have got to be here. For people to come here, the housing market has to be here. And it's a big puzzle. I can't put it all together by myself. I need help. I want your help, JJ. I want the rest of this room's help. And no matter the outcome, if I'm the mayor or if Cayman's the mayor, I would want to help him, or I would want him to help me. And that's how we move Columbia forward.
Absolutely, I agree on that. As Mayor McKenzie said, we got to make it to where people want to be here. People want to stay here. As I speak with many of my peers and a few people older than me, there's nothing to keep them active here, right? Kids got to have something other than a sports complex. And what is that? Well, that's programs that keep them creative, internships, mentorships, to where they can go, as I was speaking with one resident, many young people in our community don't know that you can become a licensed realtor like I did. And so how can we start to put things in our young people's face, bring things to their attention, to where it's not 1999 no more. Things are a little bit easier. You just have to be connected to the right person. And so bringing those connections to our young people. Also, I said internships to where they can go under and work for these people. By the time they're out of high school, and if they want to go to college or not, they could potentially have a job waiting on them. They could potentially have things already lined up in their favor. But right now, they kind of got to either go to college, go out to work, or find a connection. If they don't got a connection, they're doomed. So we got to make things more accessible to our youth. As I said, programs. Y'all maybe said it a lot tonight, but we got to find other ways to get our youth active outside of sports. This community wants kids, that's all they think about. And that's what's that's some of the issues with our young people. They don't know how to think outside of playing baseball, football, and basketball. Their mind is stagnated, and we got to find ways we can make increase their creativity, increase their knowledge to where they want to be the next investors, they want to be the next entrepreneurs, they want to be the next innovators, leaders, maybe a pastor, a business owner in our community though. They don't want to leave outside of this community and go right to 30 miles down the road, 25 miles down the road and build a nice house or start a company. No, we want to make them start it in here, but we got to bring that attraction, bring that to them, and show them that if you do it here, it's going to scale up and it's going to go to another level. And so we first, in order to get there, we got to brighten up our community to where they say, I see things are starting to take off in Columbia. Let me stay here another 5 years and see what it looks like. Then they stay here another 25. That's how we get them. But as I want to say this before we wrap it up. Thank you to Mayor McKenzie. This is our first time, I believe, been in public since since I've been running for mayor. But I want to say thank you. Thank you for what you're doing for our community. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. Thank you to the Board of Aldermen and Alderwomen for being here tonight as well. And also the city clerk as well. And some more city officials, city workers in here. Thank you guys for showing up. It's important that y'all was here tonight to hear both of our visions and our plans for the future of Columbia. But you can ensure this, as long as Mayor McKenzie agree with me, we will always continue to work together. As I said, I looked up to him. He inspired me to run. I told your mom as well. She's done a wonderful job. You inspired me, and I truly believe that I could do it because of you. And I want you to know that coming out my mouth to your ears. And I appreciate you and your wife as well. And whoever wins, like they say, it's a win-win situation, right? But I just want to say thank you, and thank you, Ben Watley, for hosting this for us. It was great for the community. And maybe the next 4 years we can have another one and keep this together and start to get our community active and involved in what's going on. Keep them from being Facebook warriors. Book face.
Amen. Yeah, the book of faces. Yeah, well, this is my opportunity to close, Jason, so just sit down and hang on. Mike says motion to adjourn now, and he's just waiting for an eager second so they can get out of there. And I'm jokingly. Again, Ben, just exactly what came in, and that's what I told him. Kind of leaned over and was like, let's just make sure we remember to both thank you. And we both wanted to thank you and your dad for hosting this, and I wish you great success here. I think Jim walked back in. I think that some of the second Saturday events, according to the conversations we had this past week, will probably take place here and inside, and there'll be opportunity for additional opportunities in here. I'll leave that for y'all to discuss and put out. But it would also help with the climate-controlled environment, because if you come to the second Saturdays this past year, it was really hot outside. But I'm going to tell you, Sharika left, and I wanted to catch her before she got out the door on it, just being able to circle back. Like, she promoted those events so hard, as Jen and Megan both did. But she, as an independent resident, promoted them and was always so discouraged that people just didn't show up and support them. And so that's the thing. I mean, it may not always be just exactly what you're eager to do, but if it's something to do, sometimes we have to celebrate those too. And, I don't think Ben would dare not want to talk about the theater. I mean, you can go to Hattiesburg and eat a big old steak at whatever chain restaurant, and somebody can make their money, and then you can go go hang out at one of the theaters over there. Or you can come to your hometown theater right here in Columbia. Right. You can support it and keep the doors open there. He's made a significant investment in it, and obviously branching out and willing to try this. And we as a community need to support that. The other day, in one of his giveaways, was a year of a free ticket per week for an entire year to a movie, and that was a giveaway door prize at an event the other day. That's huge. We haven't had that. We've got to support people who are willing to invest and give back, and support the other causes, like the ones who are giving away the door prize. Jason's checking his watch. 30 minutes, buddy, and we're good. Again, thank y'all. Look, the future of Columbia is bright. We've got a great opportunity ahead of us. We've got some great employees. A couple of them are here, and I don't brag on them only when they're here. I brag on them anytime I get a chance to, because we've got some great employees that really want to do well for Columbia and want to make it better. As citizens and just good, decent human beings, we can all step up to the plate and take a little ownership in our community as well. And if we do that together, Columbia would be unstoppable. I mean, we could really make an impact on our state. So, again, thank you, Cayman, and I look forward to talking with anybody that'd like to hang out. I think Cayman's going to do the same thing. We're going to hang out and talk.
All right, we're going to conclude the meeting. I started